Oi, gente, tudo bem? Sou o Felipe Mengen, da 42 Formas, e agora vocês vão ver uma entrevista que eu fiz com o Chase Knight, que é um coach de CrossFit que mora em Kansas City, nos Estados Unidos. Por que eu entrevistei ele? Porque eu vi no Instagram que o Chase, ele treina uma aluna dele chamada Brooke, que é completamente cega. E eu, que sou um praticante do CrossFit, fiquei muito impressionado com a metodologia que ele usa para ensinar várias técnicas que eu aprendo e meus coaches me ensinam de uma maneira totalmente visual. Então eu entrei em contato com o Chase e a gente bateu um papo muito bacana sobre essas adaptações de metodologia, as formas de ensinar e as formas de aprender. E eu acho que vocês vão gostar dessa entrevista. Agradeço ao Chase pelo tempo, pela paciência, porque fazer uma entrevista em inglês nunca é a coisa mais fácil do mundo. Mas eu acho que o resultado foi bem bacana. E eu queria ouvir os comentários de vocês assim que vocês assistirem esse vídeo. Um abraço, até mais. So, Chase, first of all, how did you get involved with CrossFit, and what's your story with the sport? And could you?
Yeah. So I kind of come from a fitness background now. I was a really obese teenager, fitness, and then from there, I joined the military when I was 19, and when I was 21, I was going through some training, and that's when I first heard about CrossFit. So that was 2010, and then when I got stationed at my active duty location at Fort Riley, Kansas, um, I met somebody who was doing some crazy stuff, walking on her hands, pushing a prowler, and I thought it was really interesting. And then when she put all the weights away, I pulled out the same weights, put it on the same prowler that she was doing, and I realized that I couldn't do what she did. And I kind of acclaimed myself as a fitness guy and really in shape, and so it kind of blew my mind that this girl could do something that I couldn't do. And so when I asked her, "Hey, what are you doing?" she said, "Oh, I'm doing CrossFit," and that was the second time I heard about it. And so from there, I was like, "Okay, well, there's something about this now." And she showed me CrossFit.com, so I would go on there. I'd watch the workouts on my phone, and I would just repeat what they were doing, and that's literally how I learned. I never went to a box. I was never an athlete anywhere, so I was self-taught, and I did that for about 2 years. After I got out of the military for active duty, I built a CrossFit gym in my basement, bought a bar, bumpers, made a makeshift pull-up bar, and that's where I started doing CrossFit mainly. That's where I started coaching the first few people in CrossFit, and just a couple friends, trying to show them things that I thought I knew how to do. Uh, and really what got me heavily into coaching was, so now I've been doing CrossFit, quote unquote, for about 3 years, and I deployed to Afghanistan. When I was in Afghanistan, I was fortunate enough to be at a base that had a nonprofit CrossFit affiliate, which was a CrossFit Camp Phoenix. And, I was really into coaching by then. I was a fitness instructor for the military as well. And so I saw what it could do for soldiers. So when I was over there, I asked if I could help coach. And, I didn't have any real CrossFit coaching experience. So this is my first introduction. So what happened was I would start working out with my training partner, who was one of the main coaches, and I would just start word vomiting whatever he would teach me. And that's literally like how I got started. So that was in 2013. I came home, started a gym out of my garage. Then I got hired at a actual CrossFit affiliate after I got my level 1 in 2014. I was more so like a strength biased CrossFit coach. And so I moved up, became the head coach and assistant manager at my old gym, and did that for about a year and a half. And then eventually I decided to open up my affiliate with my partner. And we started our gym, CrossFit FIF, which is for Fitness Isn't Free. And we started that about a year and a half ago now. Yeah, no, I have new members come in all the time that they're just fearful of the unknown. It's the intimidation factor. It's things that they've never done before. And then it really comes down to the coach kind of easing them in and making sure that they understand that it is for everybody. So one of the general rules that I have when coaching is I tell them for the first 2 months is kind of like their ramp up period. It's heavily scaled, even more so than maybe what they think they should be. And I tell them that a saying that I want them to have is, I'd rather you leave the gym for the first 2 months. Now, after about 6 months, a year, it changes. But for the first 2 months, you need to leave the gym going, okay, I probably could have gone a little harder, or I could have gone a little bit heavier, or I could have worked a little bit harder. That's a lot better than saying I probably shouldn't have done what I did.
Yeah.
So it just ensures that they keep coming back. It gets rid of that fear. Because I've had people finish a workout going, oh, that wasn't that bad. It's like, okay, well, that's great. Now we know we can go harder the next time. So it's just stepping in the door and then trying it. And that's the hardest part. It was her and her mother. Her mother emailed me, and she came in. I agreed to meet. Came in, and I got the first hour was just getting to know her mom, and kind of like what her desires are. So Brooke previously did CrossFit for about a year with another trainer. She did about 2 or 3 on average, like one-on-one sessions throughout the year. So she already had a general idea of what CrossFit was. She already had a base of the movements. So that initial fear was gone. The difference is now she's meeting with somebody who's never coached a blind person. And that was the hard part, is nobody in our area, in our city has. So I was very forward with her. I told her flat out, I said, I've never coached anybody blind. I've coached a wide variety of and I've been coaching long enough where I said, I believe in my ability to coach. And as long as you accept the fact that it's going to be a learning process for me too, I'm more than happy to work with you and to try. And as long as you know that I have a learning curve, then I think we're good to go, and let's go ahead and try it. And that was it. I was just very upfront with her, and she liked the way that I explained how I work and my expectations of her, which was simply the same expectations I have with everybody else. Like, just because you're blind doesn't mean I'm going to let you get away with doing bad things. Just because you don't know what the right thing technically looks like, I'm not going to let you do the wrong thing and say that's good enough. So I was very forward. Yeah, so in coaching, you got 3 different cues that you use. You have verbal, you have tactile, and right, so visual. So visual just took a whole different turn. So it was kind of taking a tactile cue, which is, okay, I'm going to touch your body in a certain area just to give you that, that sensory feel of, you should touch my hand when you fully stand up, right? You should squeeze your butt when you stand all the way up, things like that. Mm-hmm. And it kind of took that to a whole extreme. And it was slowing things down to such a slow extent, meaning that demonstration and explanation of a movement would take 3-4 times as long, but that was because I would physically stop myself at different points in the movement so that she could re-feel where I was at in relation to my body. So that was one of the biggest changes. And then verbal-wise was just a lot more detail. So when you go through training as a CrossFit trainer, they tell you to teach at a 3rd grade level. You want to be able to explain it to where a 3rd grader would understand. Well, I don't really agree with that. You don't want to use so much technical language to where it confuses people, but I believe a smarter athlete's a stronger athlete. And with her, the more detail, the better. So she would ask me questions on where should her feet be, or where should she feel something that nobody else would ask me, because they would be able to see it and instantly understand it, and something that I would never have to actually explain. And there's been 3 or 4 times where she's been like, well, what is this part of my body doing? And I'm going, oh, damn, I didn't even think about that. I would have never thought about telling somebody that, you know? So just attention to detail is the biggest adaptation, like extreme detail.
Yeah, and how about like movements that because when you're doing like back squats, front squats, or something like that, it's
Mhm.
easy because you can feel the bar in your body.
Right.
But how about like box jumps and wall balls and single wonders?
So getting her, um, okay, if you ever seen any movie with sonar on it, with like sonar and submarines, that's kind of my metaphor for it. It we set up, she knows where to go in the gym. She knows where the pieces of equipment are. She knows the flow of how we coach, how we do our set. And that's exactly how I coach a movement. So I acclimate her to the piece of equipment. She knows where that is in relation to a wall or a pole so that she has points of reference in order to find that piece of equipment. Um, so when we're doing like a box jump, I'll have her um, feel, she'll feel the box, but I make sure that she feels all the way to the sides as well. So
Okay.
that way she knows that she's centered up, not just how high it is. Because it's great if you jump the right height, but if you're 4 inches to the right, it's a bad day. So making sure that she always has that reference point of where she's at, um, that's what's completely different. She has to know where that equipment is so that she's comfortable in space. Yeah, I talked to her about that. She said that she's tried something like that before, and it actually messes her up more. So what we do is after she has her relation to the wall, and she has the medicine ball in the front rack,
Yep.
um, I only have her throw it just a couple inches, so it immediately comes back to the hands, and then it's a few more inches, a few more inches. So what she does is she memorizes the timing,
Yep.
and so she just has a correlation of how much strength that she put in, where her hands are, and where she'll catch the ball on the return. But some people suggested how about the black ball in front of a white wall, and I took that suggestion to her, and she's like, it isn't going to make a difference. And then I asked her about the whole bell thing, and she said that she's tried that, but then with other ambient noises going on in the
Yeah.
background, it just throws her off. Um, so when I coach and when we train, it's actually pretty darn quiet in the gym. I don't like talking over things. I like being able to hear and be able to coach. So the only time she ever has like music on is during the workout, and the music's loud, and she likes it that way. And so the bell wouldn't really help her at all. Yeah, no, absolutely. It was so Brooke revitalized my love for coaching. I'll say that. When you coach for so long, I'm fortunate enough to where I do this full time, and I've been doing it full time for a few years. I've probably coached 4,500 to 5,000 hours now. Um, so I have a pretty good coaching experience in CrossFit. And after you've been coaching for that long, it does kind of get routine. You get comfortable. No matter how much you try to tell yourself like, okay, like I need to do more, be better, or whatever it may be. So the nice thing with Brooke is it gave me a challenge. It gave me a new challenge that I had to confront and I had to adapt and overcome. Um, but then it also made me go, I want to be better in this. I want to be better at it. So I went and got my level two almost immediately after coaching Brooke because I was like, I think it'll help me. I've been studying for my level three. So my ultimate goal is I'm trying to get on CrossFit seminar staff. Like that's what I want to do. I want to coach the level one course. Um, but it's just a validation of my knowledge and what I know. Um, but yeah, it's made me understand the methodologies and the technical aspects of CrossFit a lot more to where I teach that and I instruct that. And I want members to know that. I want athletes to understand what energy pathways are and what proper nutrition really is and why CrossFit is so effective, rather than you just come in, you work out, you get great results, but you don't really know why.
Yeah.
And even for me, the more I've studied, I've gone, oh wow, it makes complete sense. I, I have a better comprehension of it now, to where, chalk it up to age maturity or whatever you want, but my ability as a coach has definitely increased, in my own opinion.